I Was Nothing. This was requested by Inchman, and what a great song this has turned out to be. In recent years, they've been pulling this one out a lot. They played it when I saw them, and I don't know how much they've been playing it, within the last like year, but I know there was a big stretch in like 2021, 22 where they play it a lot. Seem to be digging out a lot of older songs. Maybe they just want new songs to play. Who knows? Anyway. Now, this was originally a pod outtake, and you can listen to that on YouTube. And the solo that I'm going to be teaching here is based on that one, because it's actually a pretty cool solo. It's very sloppy, it's very brown, but I think the note choices are really interesting. He kind of mixes the major and minor in a really cool way. I'm sure he just kind of felt it out. And there's lots of mistakes on that version. I'll discuss the differences and the rhythm parts. But anyway, so we're in standard tuning here. Now, there are technically two guitar parts when they play this live. From what I can tell, the only real difference is, they play the same bits. Obviously, Diener solos and Aaron just plays the rhythm, but underneath that. But the only difference in the rhythm is Aaron does the bendy, which we'll get to. But let's just get to the main riff. And by the way, this is a quick hint. For certain songs like this, obviously you want like a lot of gain, lots of distortion, not too much, and it helps to be on like, if you have like a Strat guitar, be on like either the middle or the bridge pickup or both of them. That's just a tiny little thing, because he has a really cool, like, especially live, his guitar sounds great when he does this. It's got that kind of weird like spanky, it's got that Strat sound but with some gain behind it. It's nice and dirty. Anyway, so this is pretty straight power chords here, and you'll see Diener do this with two fingers, which could just be those two notes, but it was probably him hitting that note. It doesn't sound like he's quite hitting that major third in him. You could if you want. I think to be more accurate, it just sounds more like if you just hit the three-string power chord. So we open up with a E power chord right there, bottom three. And it does that every once in a while. So really fun open. So your open E is just gonna, right? You hit it, let it ring out, and you can kind of hit it two more times there if you want. Kind of ghost notes, really. And I think he hits the low E when he hits this E power chord. And it's, again, that E kind of, you guess, hit it with a upstroke ghost note and muting the other strings when you do that. Like that. So yeah, D. And again, you only really want to emphasize that first hit, but you hear me kind of lightly strumming after that, so you barely kind of heard that second strum. It just kind of sounded like I was doing it, but it's really just the rhythm of your hand that you keep going. Right? And then no extra hits there. It's just sliding up from a C to a D. And then Diener just hits an A5 power chord on the 5th fret there. Right? And that's when Aaron does the bendy. Now, I do an octave bend. Now, the exact nature of the bend, it's definitely like a half step at most, maybe even less sometimes. And sometimes he does it basically single notes as far as I'm aware. You could do it like this, where you hit that. You could hit that open A string, but you can't really get any vibrato on that, right? You really bend that up. I guess if you got a bridge that you can just push back on, or a whammy bar or whatever. Anyway, so I do that where you mute the A string in between. You just hit it. But if you want to be more accurate, you can just go. Sometimes it's a slow bend. Sometimes it's he bends up and back down. And again, you sometimes do it on the low note. You can do whatever you want for that, honestly. Keep it kind of a subtle bend. It's got a nice kind of raunchy, nasty sound to it. Like it just kind of barely makes its way up to that blues note. It's real cool sounding. And so that's the main riff, and that's the verse and all that. And then we get to the chorus. Now, I'm going to teach what they do live, because on that pod outtake, it's really sloppily played, obviously. And the part is slightly different. So we'll teach what I guess is the sort of quote-unquote canon, quote-unquote proper way to play, because this is what they've stuck to live. It's mostly the same, but that great rhythm, da-da, da-da, da-da. So I think he does downstroke, then upstroke. This is on the A and D string. But you can also do upstroke, downstroke. It's whatever floats your boat. So these are all the same major dyad. So 7th fret on the A. This is an E major dyad. Right? Same exact shape that you're moving around. So then mute, then mute. Right? So you don't want to go. It's just not what it is. So it's. And then the 4th time he does it, I think he mostly sticks to just. He might hit both of them the first time he does that downstroke. You know, so you can be fine with that. Right? He just kind of lets it ring open that one time. And then move it down one whole step to a D. Right? And then he goes to B here on the 7th fret of the E. And again, same 2 notes. Down one whole step. Now he cycles through it again. And here, instead of playing that D, he does a C sharp. Again, same shape, same rhythm, everything. Then B. Same as before. And that's the chorus, right? And you hit that low E power chord again. Those are the only real 2 riffs in the song. And they're great. Now on that pod outtake version, it's actually flipped and there's a couple times where he messes up and doesn't quite play the right thing, I assume. Maybe they just were kind of not sure how they wanted to do it, but it's actually does the C sharp the first time. And then it does the D the second time. So I guess they flipped it. And then at one point during the solo, because it's the solo goes over top of the riff, the verse riff, and also they do the chorus progression after that. And that time they actually do a C, I think. They do it. It's a little weird. And also on the, I was going to say album version, but you know, the outtake, he does basically a higher octave part, which I guess this is lead guitar, but whatever. He's basically doing the same inversions, and he's got lots of effect. He's mainly using like a wah pedal, and I've gone over this before, but I can't really use the wah pedal while recording a video. I've tried it once in a video a long while ago, and it was a disaster. So it's just the same exact thing, just a octave higher on the G and B strings. You could do it here on the 9th fret. And he's a lot more lenient with letting the 2 notes ring out. But again, it's changed up a bit, because sometimes he does, and then he does the C at one point. Goes down to the A there. So you can just add that. It's the same thing, you just do it up on the, that's B for the E, that B for the D, this would be for the C sharp, this would be for the B, this would be for the A, right? So, real simple. Now, the solo is really cool. As I mentioned before, he mixes the major and minor scales. I doubt it, he's sitting there intentionally doing all that, but it's really cool regardless. He has some really cool note choices in here, it's a simple solo, but it's really brown. So I'm not going to turn effects on, but you heard me try to emulate that wah pedal and all that earlier. So That's the opening phrase. So he's just alternating between these two notes. I think he's playing it all on this first string here. Alternating between the 3rd and 5th fret, the A and G. I think he's picking them too. With that like wah or whatever effect he has, it's less easy to tell. But you could also just like hammer and pull off. But I think it's more even and you get more volume. You don't. So, and then he goes. Right, so slide up to 7, then 5th, 7, and you pluck them all, except for that slide. And then I think he plucks that 3rd, 5th, and then pull off. Then pull off to open. Right, so. And then he slides up to the 9th fret, then hits 7. Don't remember if he slides up to that 12, but you could also do some. But he goes 12, 10, E to D. Right, so. And then he goes. That's that phrase. So you can rake into it or frap on the 15th there. That's what I tend to do. So 15, 12, 10, 12. Then you could hammer on there on the 10 to 12 of the B, or you could pick them all. And then it's a really cool note choice there. It's from the major 3rd to the minor 3rd. Now, I think he might actually be doing something more like... It kind of sounds like he bends up to that note from the F sharp. But I think it sounds a bit better, a bit more natural. And they slide up there. From that 10 to 12 on the B. Notice I did that with, I'm doing that G string note with my middle finger and then my pointer. I slide up. And then this part's really cool. Right, so that's real cool. You pluck those on 11, 13 on the G. And you pluck it a 3rd time when you bend up. Half step bend. And then you bring it back down without plucking. And then again, you could hammer on and just pluck it twice. I prefer to pluck them, all 4 of them. Sorry, that's he just hits the 2 notes. I'm thinking of the next part. It's just 1, 2. And then this is the part I was done. Where it just goes up on the B string, 12th to 14th. And then he slides up. But those couple notes. That's the major 3rd on there. And it's been, mostly minor key. He had the minor 3rd there. He had the minor 3rd there and there, but he also had the major 3rd there. He just slid down. So that's cool. And then he slides up to 17 there on the B. And he plucks real quick and slides up again with some vibrato on 19. Now this next part, this could just be sort of an auditory illusion. I think he's just doing... It's just a pluck and a hammer on on that high E string to that high A note from that G sharp or whatever you want to call it. But honestly, I think it sounds cooler because I hear that lower note in there, that note. So I think it sounds a bit more accurate. Maybe not what he did, but I think it sounds really cool when you play this. So this is a upstroke on this, and it's just one hit. It's just one upstroke on, that's 17 and 16 of the B and E respectively. And then you slide up. You slide your finger on the B string up one whole step, and then a half step on the higher string, right? So you could totally just do a hammer on there on the 16 to 17 on the high E, but I think it sounds really cool. And again, having that minor third, that major third in there, and then he follows it up immediately with the minor third and bending up, bluesy, right? So he plays it. I don't know if he actually bends it that much, but I like to. You just play that on the 15 of the high E, then hit that 17 on the B. So I think he hits it, he lets it sustain a bit, and then he pulls off, then plucks, hammers on, plucks 15. Right, so he slides to that 12 of the B and lets it ring out, and then I think he pulls off or slides down, and you hear the open B ringing out. And that's it. It's a really cool solo on that pod outtake version, and you know, Diener does all sorts of cool stuff when they play this live in terms of the lead guitar work. And it's just a really great rocker. It really rose up. I didn't think much of it when I heard the pod outtake the first time, and now not only do I love when they play it live and listening to those versions, I have a lot more appreciation for that super brown pod outtake. You know, still think the live version probably takes the cake, and they're all pretty good, and it's great to hear him do that live. And thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you had fun learning, and take care.